If you've ever used ChatGPT, you've probably noticed something strange. Sometimes it gives amazing answers. Sometimes it's confidently wrong. And sometimes it completely makes things up while sounding 100% sure. So here's a serious question. Does AI actually understand what it's saying? In this video, we're going to explain how AI actually thinks, why it sometimes hallucinates, why it can be biased, and why confidence does not mean understanding. By the end, you'll never look at AI the same way again. We hear all the time about AI thinking, learning, and even creating, but what does that really mean? When we say AI thinks, we're really just using a human term to describe something very different. Human thinking is all about understanding meaning, having intentions, and using common sense. We know when we're not sure about something. AI, on the other hand, doesn't grasp meaning in the same way. It has no awareness, no personal goals, and it doesn't even know when it's made a mistake. It's just following complex algorithms. So if AI isn't thinking like us, what is it actually doing? At its core, modern AI, especially a language model like ChatGPT, does one main thing: it predicts patterns. When you type a prompt, the AI isn't searching a database of facts or thinking step by step like a person. It's not even checking if something is true. Instead, it's just asking a very specific question. Based on all the massive amounts of text I've been trained on, what words are most likely to come next? That's it. There's no deep understanding or self-awareness. It's just extremely advanced pattern recognition on a massive scale. So next time you use AI, remember you're talking to a world-class pattern predictor. Here's a simple way to imagine AI. Let's talk about your phone's autocomplete. You know, when you start typing a message like, I'm going to the, and then a few suggestions pop up. Maybe it suggests store, gym, or mall. Now, here's the key question. Does your phone actually know where you're going? Does it have a tiny crystal ball inside? Of course not. It's just making a really good guess. It has seen millions of sentences, and it knows that after the phrase, I'm going to the, words like store, gym, and mall are very common next steps. It's all about recognizing patterns. So your phone is playing a word-guessing game based on a massive amount of data it has been trained on. It predicts the most likely next word. That's the core concept. Now let's scale that idea way up. Imagine an autocomplete system that hasn't just been trained on typical text messages. Imagine it's been trained on a colossal amount of text from the entire internet. We're talking billions and billions of sentences from books, articles, websites, research papers, and countless online conversations. It has learned the patterns not just of simple phrases, but of grammar, context, facts, reasoning, and even different writing styles. This system can analyze a question like, what's the capital of France? And predict the most statistically likely and correct answer. Paris. It's not thinking in the human sense. It's just an incredibly powerful pattern matching and prediction engine. That, in a nutshell, is how many of the large language models you hear about today work. They are essentially autocomplete on steroids. When you ask ChatGPT a question or have it write a story, it's not truly understanding your request like a person would. Instead, it's performing an extremely complex version of that word-guessing game, predicting the most probable sequence of words to form a coherent and relevant response, based on the unbelievable amount of information it has processed. So the next time you use autocomplete on your phone, just remember, you're looking at a tiny baby version of the same technology that powers some of the most advanced AI in the world. It's all just a game of predicting what comes next, but on a mind-blowing scale. Do you know why I always sound so confident? You ask it a question, and it gives you this beautifully written, perfectly structured answer. It's so convincing, right? But here's the twist, and it's a big one. AI has absolutely no concept of confidence or uncertainty. It doesn't feel sure of itself, and it doesn't feel doubtful. Think about how we humans talk. When we're not sure about something, we use phrases like, I'm not really sure, or I could be wrong, or simply, I don't know enough about that to say. These are little signals we give each other to show our level of certainty. It's a fundamental part of how we communicate and build trust. AI doesn't do any of that. It doesn't have feelings, emotions, or a sense of self-awareness. When you give it a prompt, its one and only job is to analyze the vast amount of data it was trained on and generate the most statistically likely sequence of words that fits your request. It's a pattern matching machine on an epic scale. This is exactly why it can be so misleading. For an AI, generating a response that sounds confident is the same as generating a response that is correct. It doesn't differentiate between the two. The algorithm just puts words together in a way that seems plausible based on its training data. That's how you end up with situations where an AI will state a completely incorrect fact with the authority of a university professor. It can invent fake explanations for complex topics that sound incredibly professional and polished. It might even create entire historical events or scientific studies that never happened, all presented in a very convincing, well-written package. So the key takeaway here is to always be a little skeptical. Just because an AI-generated answer sounds confident doesn't mean it's accurate. The confidence is an illusion, a byproduct of its programming to produce coherent text. It's not a reflection of actual knowledge or certainty. Remember to treat AI as a powerful tool, an amazing assistant for brainstorming or getting a starting point, but not as the ultimate source of truth. Always double-check important information from reliable human sources. A confident-sounding answer is not the same as a correct one. This brings us to one of the biggest issues, hallucinations. This is one of the biggest challenges we're facing with AI today, and it's something everyone needs to understand. So, what exactly is an AI hallucination? It's when a model doesn't actually know the answer to your question. But instead of saying, I don't know, it generates a response that sounds completely plausible. It's like a student who didn't study for a test, but tries to bluff their way through an essay question with confidence. Let me give you some real-world examples. Imagine you re a student doing research and you ask an AI for sources on a specific topic. The AI might invent fake academic papers, complete with authors, titles, and journal names that don't exist. Or, if you ask for statistics to back up an argument, it could just make up numbers that sound official, but have no basis in reality. We've seen AIs give incorrect historical facts, confidently misstating dates or attributing quotes to the wrong people. They might even explain a scientific concept or a piece of technology that is entirely fictional, describing how it works in intricate detail. It's incredibly convincing, and that's what makes it so tricky. So the big question is, why does this happen? It all comes down to how these models are built. At their core, AIs are optimized to do one primary thing: produce a response. They are not optimized to verify the truth. Their entire training is based on predicting the next most likely word in a sequence to form a coherent, human-like sentence. Think about it like this. If you ask a question that looks like it should have an answer, the model's programming kicks in. Its goal is to generate that answer based on the patterns it learned from trillions of words of text from the internet. In that vast sea of training data, confident explanations are far more common than responses like, I do and have that information, or just silence. The AI learns that giving a confident-sounding answer is statistically the correct thing to do, even if the information it's generating is completely wrong. It's not lying in the human sense. It's just following its programming to create what it thinks is the most probable and helpful response. This is why critical thinking is more important than ever. Always double-check important information, especially when it comes from an AI. Another major limitation of AI is bias. This means the data AI trains on can be packed with historical, cultural, language, and social biases. If these biased patterns are in the training data, the AI can end up reinforcing stereotypes, making unfair assumptions, and producing some seriously skewed results. It's crucial to understand that AI isn't biased because it has opinions or feelings. It's biased because it's a mirror reflecting the biased data it was fed. These systems need to be constantly audited, monitored, and used with extreme care, especially in critical areas like hiring, healthcare, or our justice system. The goal is to build fairer AI for a better future. Even though AI uses language well, it does not understand meaning. It doesn't know what words refer to in the real world, understand cause and effect, and have common sense. For example, AI can describe how fire feels without ever having experienced heat. It can explain emotions without ever feeling anything. It learns language by association, not experience. That's a huge difference between humans and machines. If AI doesn't understand, why is it so useful? Because pattern recognition at scale is incredibly powerful. Many tasks don't require true understanding. Speed and consistency matter more than awareness. AI is excellent at summarizing information, finding patterns in data, generating drafts, and assisting humans. The key word is assisting. AI works best when humans guide it, humans verify results, and when humans make final decisions. So how does AI actually think? It doesn't think like a human. It predicts patterns incredibly well without understanding. That's why AI can be helpful, be impressive, be wrong, be confident, be biased all at the same time. The most important skill in the age of AI is not blind trust. It's critical thinking. Use AI as a tool. Question its answers. Understand its limits. If you do that, AI becomes incredibly powerful, not dangerous. If you found this helpful, like and subscribe. Next video will be about what AI can't do, even in 2026.